I am Laura Moore. I'm the Chief Strategy and Operations Officer at Neosurf. Today I'm talking about how we have solved the paradox, the identity cash paradox, which is really getting the balance right between the cash player and the freedom that they want and the controls and regulations that regulator wants. The key takeaway is that we've entered into a strategic partnership with Nuvei, and together we are launching Rapido Cash, which is being launched in Italy to really help overcome the new regulation that's coming in mid-May to keep the cash player playing. Thank you for having me here today. You've just heard about alternative payment methods or payment methods. I'm here to talk about an alternative payment method. And this morning you heard about some regulatory increasing and how it might squeeze some of our players. And you also heard a little bit about identity and how we want to increase the kind of fingerprinting of customers to make sure we really understand them. So as you heard, I'm Laura Moore, Chief Strategy and Operations Officer at Neosurf. And we are an alternative payment method, and we support cash. That is the thing we specialise in and have done for the last 20 or so years. Really helping cash playing customers keep playing and converting that into value that they can then use on the operator accounts. Okay, so the title is on the paradigm, because in today's market, it is a puzzle. It really is a puzzle for how we keep the freedom that a cash player wants to have with the regulatory oversight that our markets require. And we need to solve both of them very well, otherwise we risk losing either side. And it becomes a little bit of a contradictory thing. So what do they actually want when you look at what the regulator is after? The regulator is after that traceability, especially when it comes to cash, which involves verifying the identity of the player and really making sure that the required checks are in place. And we know from an operator perspective that we want to have as seamless a user experience as possible with the least amount of friction, but the right amount of friction at the right points in time. But from a player perspective, all they really want to do is make a deposit. And so we're trying to break down to solve that on each side of this paradigm for how we keep them playing, how we make it as seamless as possible. But we know in this kind of what we're calling the puzzle, how we solve it, we might not be able to solve it by ourselves. So where we're at today is that we are entering into a strategic partnership with Nuvei and really wanting to talk about our new product offering called Rapido Cash. Now this is a kind of bringing the best of both worlds, where we're designing a product that's based on the real retail behaviour of a customer going into a store to deposit that cash, but really meeting the regulatory expectations to provide that traceability of the cash through the system, through the flow of value for the consumer, but also through the flow of funds for operators alike. So when you bring a new product to market, you need a launch market. And within Europe, Italy is really increasing their regulatory oversight. And come the middle of May, the first batches of increased regulation are coming out. And this is where it is a large cash market, and we're not trying to teach consumers at this point in time how to play, how to top up their online accounts using cash. There's already a lot of cultural, behavioural norms in place, but we need to add something in there that enables them to keep playing but satisfies the updated regulation. And so it is building in what you have to say, a few extra steps for the user. So how do they initiate that normal playing transaction online? But you offer them a way where they can find their local pay-in point because it exists within the neighbourhoods. And then they take their cash and their identity to that store with this unique barcode. And where we talk about a barcode or QR code, depends on the retail operator, but these are unique. They're unique per transaction, they're unique per player, and that helps create that thread of identity, what we call full circle identity. So really having KYC the customer as they set up their account, making sure that when the operator is passing that transaction through, it's for that same customer using the tax identity, the tax code that is part of Italy's identity card, and making sure that when they then do that transaction at a point of sale, we capture that tax ID as well, because the traceability isn't just about the traceability of the transaction, it's also about the human that's paying in that cash. And so it's to make sure that whoever is paying in the cash actually owns those digital accounts that it's being topped up to. So there's a lot of information that we start to see flowing through this system. And really the overall emphasis is that the experience stays simple and that the controls stay strong. And that is when you look at balancing either side of this paradigm for both the end player, for the glue in the middle that helps process a lot of these payments, and the operator and the regulator. And that is why we're here today to really talk about Rapido Cash, because there's three basic elements when we think about it. There's the cash, there's the QR code, and there is the identity profile. So trying to keep it really simple, really straightforward, and easy for everyone to understand. But don't just let me tell you about it. What I want to do is now invite Fabrizio up here to the stage with me to make sure that we kind of have a discussion in conversation with between the new partnership that's going on between Neosurf and Nuvei. Okay, so I've introduced myself. Can you just give everyone an introduction?
Yes, I'm Fabrizio Bergamaschi. I'm Senior Vice President for New Sales in Nuvei for the gaming vertical. I've been working in Nuvei for the last 10 years. Nuvei has a strong expertise is a global payment service provider. We have acquiring capabilities all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, Africa, and of course Europe. Plus we have 700 alternative payment methods around the world. Plus we also manage crypto. We have solutions to accept crypto as a deposit method and payouts the merchant through stablecoins. This is in a nutshell what Nuvei does.
Okay, so just a couple of things.
Yeah.
But obviously, just kind of framed that up, this balance as the paradox between the kind of two kind of sides. Nuvei then still recognises cash and that kind of balance as important, despite having 270 other payment methods.
Yeah, I mean, in some markets, cash is still king, especially in South Europe, like Spain, Italy, Greece, but also Germany. For the time being, we were not touching this business. We were pure online. But now the online world and the offline world are merging together for what we call omnichannel of phygital experience. And so, yes, this project for us is really key, especially for the Italian market where we are market leader there.
So I think that's the latest buzzword, if you all have your bingo cards around phygital, where it is the meeting of the physical, which is what Neosurf do well for that retail integration, the pay and the cash, and the digital world. Now, building a partnership, we obviously can take advantage of each other's strengths. So Rapido Cash positioned as an alternative payment method on cashier page.
Yes. First of all, just to give you an overview, I can say the number 7 billion. 7 billion is the addressable market for Italy. So 7 billions is the amount of money that the user use offline to top up the online accounts. So I'm not considering everything else, the being all whatever. Just the money that the user spend to top up the gaming account. So it's a huge market. And what is happening in Italy now is starting from, so what is the experience now? The experience is that now the user go in a shop in Italy, they hand 100 euro and those 100 euro end up on your gaming account. Starting from the 13th of November, the regulators say, we want to every transaction to be trackable. So between the user and the deposit on the gaming account must be any financial institution. So this changed the rules because they put some limits. So 100 euro for now, from starting from May 13, will be the limit for the operators. After 100 euros, has to go through a service like ours. Okay, so it's a completely game changer. Keep in mind that a medium-sized merchant in Italy with a network of shops, they have a kind of 2,500 shops around the territory where they collect the money and top up the gaming account. And a medium-sized company has rely on the business is made, 50% of this business is based on cash still. So if you look at, I don't know, in some other country like, I don't know, Sweden, everything gets happening online. But for instance, in Italy, there are merchants where 50% of the deposit for the online business is coming from offline. So this is the magnitude of this change.
So let's replay that a little bit. So it's 7 billion addressable market that exists today.
Yeah.
But the risk is with the additional regulations coming in with limits that could shrink unless you take a service like Rapido Cash.
I mean, there is no way where there is no alternative. So either the users decide to go and play on a .com website, not regulated website in Italy, or they have to use a service like Rapido Cash, okay, where they can top up the account via cash. There is no alternatives.
And so today, culturally, behaviourally, we're adding in a bit more KYC to this flow. But customers should all have an identity card with their tax numbers. So we don't see that as a high barrier of friction.
Of course, the user experience now is super smooth. So the users go on those what we call PVRs. They say, okay, my gaming account number is 123, and they say this is you. They check the ID card, they accept cash, and they top up the cash on the gaming account. So it's really frictionless. Now with the new regulation, yes, they have to go through a process of KYC because we are acting not under the gaming regulation, but acting as a financial regulation, under a financial regulation. So it's going to be, we will lose some users for sure. Users that they don't want to be tracked from the regulators. But I think it will be really a minority. Most of them, they will accept because sometimes the users want to use cash, not because it's black money, but it's more they don't trust to put their credit card online or their bank account online. So it's more this behavior rather than black money. Of course, some people are dirty money and we will lose them, but it won't be so many, I guess.
Okay, so then that's really an important distinction as well for operators to appreciate. It's not just the gaming regulation, it is the financial institution as well. So from a Neosurf perspective, we operate across the globe and are e-money distributors and have all of the regulation, safeguarding of funds and everything that comes with it. But it is the important kind of part of the solution when you look at the additional obligations around what we call CCP, the central contact point, that really focuses on anti-money laundering and protection and traceability of all of these funds.
Yeah, as I said before, till now, the merchants were accepting cash under the gaming license. From now on, the shops will act as a e-money distributor, so they can let the user deposit money, but also withdraw money. But this is under the financial institution, not under the gaming institution, the regulation.
Yeah, so we have quite a way to go to get adoption up to its peak then, and a lot of complexities to be able to navigate. But if you then consider global shifts, Italy is not unique in terms of strengthening its regulation. It's just part of the overall launch market.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Europe, think about, for instance, Netherlands, the regulator already asks you, so when you register, you need to pull out the data of the user from the banks. So they want to be sure that who owns the gaming account is a real person, and they want to keep track of every operation. The new regulation in Italy is also for the pure online, for instance. They are asking to be sure that the credit card or the debit card that they are using belongs to the players. And sometimes it's funny because there is still no tool for the pure online to check the name of the credit card. So sometimes the regulators put some constraints, but they even ask even if it's possible or not. But I think this is a trend. So sooner or later, I guess in all Europe, cash will be regulated. We started with Italy. Italy was the first country regulated in Europe. Spain basically copy and paste the regulation here. So, but other countries will follow for sure.
And we will be ready.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing is regulation and oversight is not unique in Italy, and we expect it to, as you all know. And so as having a solution like Rapido Cash that is flexible enough, and it's part of our day jobs, this is I always say, it's part of our day jobs to look after the global footprints and to be able to adapt to the local market, both from a cultural perspective of the users, as well as the regulatory landscape. So just to touch on driving consumer adoption, this could be a little bit different for them. You know, we've got in our B2B2C style model, we obviously have a lot of players that may be slightly older, not as digitally savvy. So it's going to be a big job for us to get really the brand name out there as well and drive that adoption.
Yeah, of course there will be other players doing the same job. I think, and that's why we like, let's say, your product. Is the process, is the user experience. So right now, as I said, the users goes to the PVRs, deposit 100 euro, and the 100 euro end up in the gaming account. It's not possible to have such a process because there is a KYC, the verification, etc. But I think this is a very smooth process, a frictionless process, and that this will help a lot. So I think at the end we'll win which product will be, from this perspective, as simple as possible.
Yeah, simplicity is key. With that, then, I'll thank you for your time and the discussion.
Thank you, for the invite.
All right, thank you, everyone. We hope that you agree we have solved the cash identity paradigm with Rapido Cash. If you want to find out more about Rapido Cash and it solves the cash identity paradigm for you, look us up at neosurf.com or send an email to our dedicated info@rapidocash.eu.